All right, y'all, thank you for coming. Thank you for coming to our first Sweet Performers in Law teaching we've had in about 3 years. We did one at Kermit's when he still had his speakeasy a couple years ago, but it has literally been about 3 years. So we are starting this process again. This is the first. I think we're going to start doing these every 6 months or so that we make sure that especially in the fall we catch new people as they come and go. Because this is a process that needs to happen. And we know that not everyone is here today, but this is an issue that is needed, and we need to make sure we have not only people know what their rights are, but also have this dialogue so that people know their rights, but also people are talking with enforcement agencies so everyone is on the same page. And on that note, that is why we have the guide to street performance, which is free. We just updated it literally last week, so it is as out of the presses as you can get. We're going to put them throughout about 7 spots in the French Quarter of the Maryland, so that people know they're available.
Make sure that Rose Leonard got a look at.
Yeah, she's been involved, yeah. And so today,
We've been on the front line for about 30 years.
that's right, yeah, exactly. She's some of her stuff is referenced in there for sure. So a couple of quick notes before we get started, just so y'all know. We're going to go about an hour through this process. We're going to take a quick break after that hour, and performers that are here that want to talk specifically with legal concerns, our civil rights attorneys will be here to stay back so you can have questions answered if you don't want to talk about them. So we don't want to put them in the public sphere, but you still want answers. That space is available, and we'll be here until about 3:30. And just so y'all know, the other performers here, we also have members of different enforcement agencies here as well. So you know, we have Chad, who runs Pinnacle Security, does the French Ministry Patrol. He's here. We have representatives from the the French Market Security are here. We also have the NLPD here. Just so you'll know the space, we are, just so you know, we're recording the first 45 minutes or so of this. That will stop after the cutoff, so that you will not be recorded if you have other concerns. I want to make sure you put it there. I also want to introduce Hannah, who you mentioned from MaCCNO, who is our facilitator. Sorry, my name is Ethan Ellisted. I am the director of the Music Culture Coalition. It was a long night.
What's your name? I didn't hear you.
Yeah, I'm Ethan Ellisted. I'm the director of the Music Culture Coalition. It was a long night last night. I apologize. Longer than I expected. We also have representatives from the Orleans Parish Prison Reform Coalition, who are dealing with bail bond reform issues. And that's something we might want to talk about as well, because as you see our shirt, music is not a crime. There is an overlap there, because there still is, there's still a misdemeanor. So there still is on the books a criminalization of some violation that has to do with music and street performance. So we want to make sure that that is referenced, and we want to get people involved in that issue as well. We have Alice McCurry from the Independent News Monitor, who will walk through sort of your rights as a performer and how you do that. We also have Peter Schwartzman from the Carter Institute, who will also be able to answer some questions about your rights as performers. And then we will have sort of, with that, then we'll have a dialogue. You can ask questions. It's going to be an open forum, so don't feel like there will be a lot of presentations. With that, I'll turn it over to Hannah, and then
Hannah, I facilitate MaCCNO meetings. Today, obviously, we have our experts here, so I'm not going to be sort of leading this, but I'm going to just sort of lay out a few procedural things. The general idea is obviously to keep everything respectful as possible. You know, if we kind of get into an area where something's a little bit more contentious, please try to take a breath and respect the space and the people in it. If there are questions that you want to ask but are not comfortable asking, again, publicly, that will be possible after about 3 if you want to stay back and talk to the experts we have here. Or if you would like to write down a question, I have a notebook over there by the sign-in, and you're more than welcome to write down a question throughout the course of the next hour, and I'm happy to read it out so that it can get answered. But if you want to put it, put your behind it. Speak up, be brief, and with that, I'm going to let Allison and Katie teach us about our rights.
So, good afternoon, y'all. Can everyone hear me okay?
Yeah.
Okay, the acoustics in here aren't so well, so if you're invited to speak, if you can just make sure you project your voice so that everyone can hear the important things that you have to share or to say. I just want to start off about how important this issue is and how awesome it is to see such a great turnout for people who care about this as well as much as we do, and caring about your rights. So we can't control our national politics as much as we would like, and the outcomes from yesterday, but you can control what happens at your local and state level. And that's where, we have some power there. And to say how we want to be treated and figuring out what our rights are and how to protect our rights and things like that. So again, my name is Allison McCrary. I am an attorney and I also direct the Community and Police Mediation Program at the Office of the Independent Police Monitor. So I'm here in my capacity as the Independent Police Monitor. Some of you may know me from before my work at the Police Monitor because I represented a number of street performers and musicians and owners of important spaces like this and Tuba Fat Square and such. So before we get started, I think it's important for all of us to know who's in this space, who's in the room. There's 3 chairs over here. There's some over here. So folks who walked in, if you want to come and sit down so you're comfortable during this time, that would be great. So let's just go around and say we know that these kind of meetings attract the best and brightest in our community. And so just briefly your name and your relationship to music or culture or art or to law enforcement, and a question if you have any about what your rights are. So my name is, and a question I have for today is, and I'm going to write the questions up here in brief format so we can make sure that we answer those questions. So any questions before we start? Okay. So can we start over here? So, Sergeant, we'll start with you. Can you just say your name, your affiliation, or what you do, and a question you have if you have one?
All right, I'm Sergeant Ernest Lester. I'm standing on behalf of Commander Nicholas Gernon of the 8th District. Basically, our units are, we patrol the French Quarter during daytime hours, especially during weekend times. We are very supportive of the musical culture, very supportive. The New Orleans Police Department has no animosity, so to speak. I want y'all to know that. A lot of times when we're called, it's based on a complaint calling out. It's not the officer themselves initiating a call against an artist who may be performing. We understand your purpose, we understand the art, we understand the culture. So we want you to know that that is the general condition of everyone in the New Orleans Police Department. We're not here to antagonize or to stop you from playing the music or performing. In fact, we support it. A lot of times when it's a violation of law or something related to the violation of law, that's when we have to act. So just to let you know where we stand. I don't have a question, I just want to make that statement to you all. So you'll understand that we are very supportive of the music industry.
Thank you, Sergeant. And so some of you may have heard Sergeant say that Commander Gernon is now the new commander in the 8th District as of yesterday, and Commander Walls was transferred to another district. So for those of you who perform your art or music or culture in the 8th District, Commander Gernon's a new commander. Okay, so just your name and a question you might have, and what you do.
My name is Shannon Monahan, and I work on Frenchman Street and Royal Street as a coat rider.
Thank you, Shannon.
My name is Kaylee Wick. I also work on Frenchman Street as a coat rider.
Thank you, Kaylee.
Eric Carter, also
Thanks, Eric.
Zachary Foley. I just moved here from Oregon to look at these coats on Frenchman.
Thanks, Zach.
I'm a violinist. My wife manages me.
Great. So in the very back there, in the gray shirt, yeah.
Oh, hey, I'm Renard Bridgewater. I'm the community engagement coordinator for MaCCNO.
Thanks, Renard.
Well, I'm Kalo Senior, and I'm just kind of interested in subject matter.
We got Anna and Ethan, and in the Tara Kennedy, I'm a street performer. I'm also on the board of MaCCNO. Thanks, Karen.
Will County Street Performer Insurgents. Also.
Mason, comedy, magic,
Thanks, Mason.
yeah, magic.
Magic, thank you. And if you have a question about what your rights are, you can shout this out too. We'll list them up here to make sure that we cover them in the Know Your Rights portion. Yeah, so our law enforcement at the table.
Vernon Hayes, Director of Principal and Security.
Thank you. Sergeant?
Sergeant Trout.
Okay, y'all both with the French Market Security?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, in the back there.
Hey, I'm Thomas Adams. I'm a historian and board member of MaCCNO.
Thank you, Thomas.
Leon Renaissance of the Capital.
Great. Thank you, Ms. Jenny.
I'm Missy Quigley. I'm with the law department for the city.
Douglas Emma, owner operator Spotted Cat Music Club on Frenchman. My main question is, how can we prevent people from blocking the streets while the brass band is playing?
Okay, thank you. Next.
My name is Chad Perez. I'm the president of Pinnacle Security Investigation. For the last 12 months, we've been conducting security along Frenchman Street between the 4 and 700 block. Part of our mission out there is not to inhibit any of the street performers that are performing music. It's for safety reasons, crime prevention, as well as safety for crowds that are gathering, blocking sidewalks, blocking the street, things like that. As well as some illegal vendors that may be out there selling food or alcohol in the street.
Felix, musician.
Thanks, Felix.
I'm Willie Davis. I play piano, and though it's been a long time delayed, I plan to get a trailer with an acoustic piano on top of it that I can roll around safely and play at different places. And I'm curious how that will work out with people.
Next.
Colin Davis, drummer. I'd like to know what the city's position is on making Frenchman Street pedestrian only, the same as Royal Street and Bourbon at certain hours.
Good question.
Okay, next.
Dusty, I do magic.
Thank you, Dustin. Next.
They call me Ned. I have actually 2 full band entities, Nullified and Euphoria, and we're actually wanting to venture out and start doing a little 2-piece solo act acoustic in New Orleans, and we're finding out everything from scratch.
Great.
We perform in New Orleans Metro area, it's a different world, so this is a new world to us.
Great, thank you. Yes, sir?
I'm Stephen Dimitri, and whatever she said, I'm
My guitar player, my right hand.
Okay. All right, thanks. We missed a few folks over here, right? Yes.
I'm Nico Malloy. I do street shows in front of the church there in the square. And I'm curious if there is any enforceable volume or just anything remotely close to volume.
So if there's an enforceable volume that's remotely close to...
Just if there's any regulation that exists on how loud an act can be on the street.
There is, especially right there by the church. Because I played out there for the last 30 years.
Okay. Who's next? Yes, ma'am.
I guess I'll go. I'm MaCCNO or Mother Nature is what they call me. Some of the kids call me Grandma Gutterbump. But I do Native American crafts. I play guitar and I play drums.
Okay, thank you.
And I want to know where it's legal for us to go when it starts raining in Jackson Square. And just what the rules are about playing along the river.
Okay, so 2 questions there. And can we start here?
I'm Yvette. I'm a bass player and singer. And I do have a question as far as if the police do get called, say due to volume, are they obligated to shut you down or just come and ask you to turn it down, or you know how that plays out?
Okay, thank you.
Are
Irene Avatar. This is
My name is Adina. I'm the coordinator for the Orleans Parish Prison Reform Coalition for
I'm Alfred Marshall, organizer with Stand with Dignity and also a member of OPPRC.
My name is Dave Murphy. I'm a human statue, and my question is for Jackson Square. Artist permit A, the 20 feet is allotted to the artist. Does that include the bench? And are they allowed to take over the benches and not allow any acts to perform on those benches?
Thank you. Next.
I'm Adam Lesnaugh. I'm a street musician.
Okay. Thanks, Adam.
Dan Rook, also street musician.
This is Phil, street musician. I have a couple of questions.
Okay.
I'm going to sound like I'm on the opposite end of the thing. What do you do when somebody's playing too loud?
Mm-hmm.
You know, what do you do when, who can I complain to when I set up and play at a volume that people across the street and halfway down the street can hear me, and somebody just sets up 100 feet away from me with a bigger amplifier and starts blasting? Because, and the other question is, well, it's not a question, it's a comment. I've been out on Royal Street, the upper end of Royal Street since Katrina. And all the businesses up there are sucking wind. They're going out of business or closing. One of the reasons they're closing is because panhandlers just are overwhelming. And the people that have the money to spend in those stores won't even walk down the street anymore.
Yeah.
And when they're all gone, I don't know if the people are going to fly in from Boston and London to listen to me. I think they come to see those stores, and they're hurting.
And what street was that on?
I'm sorry?
What street?
Royal.
Royal.
Upper end of Royal.
Yes, thank you.
I'm Ryan Hancock. I'm a contractor for an ice cream company here in a quarter. I have two questions. One is, how do you get rid of gutter pumps? Because I feel like they are, I mean, there's the street reforms, that's not the issue I have. The issue I have are with the gutter pumps because they are a stain on this city. And they're just that, a lot of them are dangerous. You know, some of them are dangerous. And I want to know, how can we curtail, I wouldn't say we can't kick them out of the quarter because, you know, it's a public space, but how can we make the area, because I work on Toulouse by the natural, how can we make that area safe? Because it's frustrating. I've had consultations with them on three different occasions. I cussed one out Sunday because they were like doing their little crack, their little steel crack. I stand and I'm like, listen, I don't care if you do it down the bourbon, but then, hey, you're out of my sight. If you're doing this in front of my stand, I have a problem with it. That's a bad look on me, and it's a bad look on the people that come to the court.
I think both of us are saying we're running into serious issues with we're out here trying to play and do the right thing, and so we don't want to be interfered with. We don't want to be harassed. Other people are taking advantage of that with no ethics, no manners, no respect for anybody, not the businesses, not the fellow musicians, nobody. And we need some way of pointing those people out and dealing with it.
It's a frustrating thing, and I can agree more. Because I remember one time I went to a coffee store on St. Peter near Jackson Square, and I walked in and they had like this free gelato thing and we got the chord right. I didn't get the chord right. The second time I did it, the first time I did it, these gutter pumps come in and they wanted to fight the cashier. And they wanted to fight the owner because they wouldn't give it. I'm like, why would you do that? And it's like, it's very sad. It's very dangerous.
So just in the interest of time, I'm going to kind of pause that right there. And I'm glad, thank you guys for your questions. It sounded kind of out around the room, so come back over to you guys.
Yeah.
Could you please speak up?
Oh, I'm sorry, I was just saying that I appreciated that, but I wanted to just kind of make sure that we had time for them to answer all the questions.
And last introduction, I'm Katie Schwartzman, I'm also. Was there anyone who walked in who didn't get to introduce themselves? Anyone? Oh, did you come inside? Your name, what you do, and if you have a question about your rights.
I'm Paige, I'm a living statute member, and I have a question.
Okay, thanks, Paige.
Yeah.
All right, so you all have some really helpful questions here. I know some folks from our different law enforcement or security agencies are also here for a limited of time, and some of you may have really specific questions about specific incidences that we can talk about after 3 o'clock. Yes, sir.
If it's okay, I wanted you to ask a question that if you want to add it. Since I'm going to be playing in spaces that I've never played before, I don't want to step on anybody's toes like this gentleman right here. So when I pick a spot, and I don't know, and this gentleman comes up to me and say, hey man, this is my spot, I've been here since Katrina. You know, I don't want to step on this man's toes, but I don't know that he's been there since Katrina. So in Jackson Square, about the 50 feet or 100 feet, you know, I want to know, like, where can we go? And if somebody says, well, look, I've been here for 10 years, you have to move, and then it becomes a confrontation. That's basically.
That's a good question.
And that's first come,
You want
first
my
served?
spot, all you gotta do is get there before I do.
Okay.
But once I get there, I don't like anybody sitting up within a half a block of me.
Right.
We lived with that for years since I started playing after Katrina. A half a block, usually one person or a van on each corner. If you get crowded and a lot of people, you get somebody in the middle. And you try to play so that the guy in the middle can't hear you and you can't hear him.
All right, so I'm actually going to sort of answer part in a more general way. That leads into something that's super important in all of this, which is that parts of the culture of street performing are governed by laws, and parts of them are not. And they're governed by sort of social contracts. And a big part of what we deal with is trying to better the relationships among musicians and business owners, among all the different parts of the different ecosystems, which could be really dense. You know, there's areas where there's a lot of different things happening. So the basic answer there is yes, it's first come, first served on a legal basis. There are certain street performers that tend to play in certain places that have for a very long time. It's one of the reasons why one of our board members is Tara, who's a long-time street performer, because it's a really important perspective.
I used to play all night
to
to
have,
keep this, make sure they had the spot in the corner.
And I want to respect that.
Sure.
Because I know they're probably coming there to see them, and then I'm like.
And the short answer is basically the fact that you want to respect that is sort of 90% of solving any kind of
I would
issue.
say a personal suggestion, and it kind of holds no matter where you're trying to go and play. Like, occasionally we'll go and play Seattle or other places. Is generally go out, get a lay of the land. If you have a place that you're interested in playing, stop and talk to the person who's playing there. Go, hey, how are you? Wait till they take a break first. You know, go, hey, you know, what's going on? Is this where you normally play? Like, how do things work in this spot? Is there another spot? Like, generally in Jackson Square, one person sets up in front of one museum, another person sets up in front of the other museum, and the Magi, the magicians, get the center in front of the cathedral. That's kind of part of the unwritten social contract of what goes on out there.
And I want to respect all other artists as well.
And so I would say go out there when you find a spot. If you're like walking down Royal and you're like, wow, I like the vibe of this spot, then hang around and see who comes and plays and talk to them.
There's a secret.
Yeah, because a lot of us will share.
No, I think we've had some kind of like cutting each other off. We can try to kind of talk to this. So yeah, we'll go ahead and then.
Then Max.
Yeah.
There's a secret. It's 4 o'clock in the morning. It's real simple. First come, first serve. Get your ass up, get out, get on the spot, sit there, drink your coffee, hang around, feel stupid, wait around about 3 or 4 hours till it's 9 o'clock, and then you play. And then when you're done, you know, and then when the person shows up at 11 and you've been playing an hour and they want to play, you smile. And you go, I'll be done in about 3 hours.
So,
if they show up at 5, you know, then you go, I've only been sitting an hour and it's still 3 hours of time. There you go, we'll split sets. It's real easy, simple, same stuff that some people have a real hard trouble with. I play my volume at a volume at which a tarot reader can sit up in that hole and talk to a person, and a person can sit up in that hole and talk to a person and work while I'm working. Right. I focus on a scope of that wide, right across the steps, right into the museum. Hi, how you doing? I'm playing for this dozen people. The asshole comes up and tries to spank my crowd. Well,
I react the way I react.
So again, there's the legal decibel limit, and yes, there are absolutely, very specific, enforceable decibel limits depending on where and when and what. And then the other enormous piece of it is that it is a community and a culture, and that the more conversations there are, the more people know each other, and the more, and learning who tends to be where, it's just, that's just a matter of a little bit of time and doing a little bit of, investigating or whatever. So I wanted to that was a good opportunity to kind of talk about the social contract part of it. Yes, go ahead.
I absolutely agree with you. I've been playing out there, and there's so many, particularly a lot of young people. Well, look, if I drive up and they're playing there, oh, this is your spot, and we share it. I've never had a problem. I've had people come every year from guy comes from Greenville, Mississippi, playing the horn, and he can only play for 40 minutes at a time, so I take a break. That's great, but not everybody respects that, and it gets to be a real issue around Mardi Gras and Jazz Fest.
Oh, yeah.
When you have thousands of people coming in just to play. So that's why I say
his advice, wake up at 4 and get out there.
I'm gonna just bring this back a little bit, sort of, to a slightly narrower track. Today's session is more specifically focused on the legal rights, because that's who's got the expertise for that. This is a much larger conversation, and it's a really valuable conversation. And I think one of the things for today is making connections among people in this room helps to move that discussion forward. You're absolutely right.
So, sorry. One thing I would say in the street performance guide itself, there is what was developed by street performers about 20 years ago by Copace, which there are members here in the room, I believe.
Yeah.
That is, if you look at it, it's the New Orleans Street Performance Code of Etiquette, which deals with a lot of these issues, which is it's not legally binding, but it is sort of the social code. So if you take a look at that,
Is the website on this?
It's in the guide itself. Yeah.
Okay.
Take a look at that, and that will also help sort of smooth some of these interactions.
And again, not to dismiss that part of the conversation, but I did want to make sure that we have time to get everybody up to speed on their legal rights, so that those are taken care of, and then we can have the more nuanced discussions about how to sort of navigate the community in that way.
Thanks, Hannah. So we have about 20 minutes till 3, and we have a good bit to cover. We want to make sure we get you all the information to answer your questions and other general information that would be important for you to know. And so we're going to start with the questions that some of the law enforcement agencies or folks from the city could help answer. That I, as a city employee with the Independent Police Monitor, don't know the answer to. And so from the city attorney's office, remind me of your name? Missy. So Missy, could you help share, one question was about the city's position about allowing Frenchman Street, Royal, and Bourbon to be pedestrian only. If folks want that to be pedestrian only, what would be the route to go, and does the city have a stance on that?
This is the first I've heard of it. It's never come up. I do HDLC, BCC, French Market, this whole area. This is the first I've heard of it. I would think that the best way to go about that would be to contact Councilmember Ramsey's office. But this is the first I've ever heard of it, so it's not something that's really on our radar right now that I know of. So.
Yes.
As an addendum to that, for people who play clubs, what about some kind of access for load-in access? They do it in Austin.
To have loaded access?
That's some kind of load-in
That's
access.
actually something that we've discussed in other meetings, specifically about Frenchman Street, talking about access and parking and loading.
Frenchman,
That's all
Bourbon, it's all
super important. Again, I want to make sure that we stick with street performers' rights specifically because we're limited on time. However, we've had some discussions around that, and please join that conversation.
And after this meeting, for folks who want to talk about, we all care. There's a group of us who care about it being pedestrian only, and contacting Councilmember Ramsey's office to figure out what a next step on that could be in terms of advocating for things that you want, and if other groups or neighborhood associations or others want the same thing. So, great, thank you. And Sergeant, can you share with us, if the police are called, what are they required to do? So someone calls the police on someone, what are the police required to do and not required to do? How do y'all handle things?
All right, if they're calling about a performer who's causing crowds to be, to congregate in front of the business or block the sidewalk, then that's all we enforce, the sidewalk issue. As it relates to the volume, I know the brochure says 78 decibels. Let me explain that. That's the lowest, loudest. In other words, on Bourbon Street, the norm may be 90 to 95 decibels. That's the ambient noise, because of people talking, because of loud clubs, because of just general interaction with the public. So if you're playing and you're at 90 decibels, you will be within acceptable range. But if you exceed that, then that's when we take enforcement action. So like when you ask the question about you're playing and then someone plays next to you, then we have to measure the ambient noise to get a reading to determine what is acceptable and what is unacceptable. Because even though the brochure says 78 decibels in the French Quarter, it can exceed up to 95 decibels as a norm. All right? So we'll try to mediate between you two and see if y'all can come to an agreement if the person has not violated that noise ordinance. All right? Our stance on the volume is not, especially it's not an issue during the day. The only time it becomes a problem is when crowds gather and they block normal pedestrian traffic. We do have laws on the books. You're not allowed to block the sidewalk. All right? You can't prevent people from using the sidewalk. And it's a safety issue because you have lorries, you have vehicles passing back and forth. You don't want someone to step out into the street and get hit by a car when they can walk on the sidewalk to get to their destination or to support the business. So when we arrive and you say, well, look, they're blocking the side of their cars, we won't stop you from playing, but we'll try to get the crowds to kind of be more cooperative toward the people who may not stop to hear.
And I just wanted to reiterate, another question from over here was that if it's specifically a noise complaint that's called, that the response does not have to be the person's shutting down. It could be tell them to turn the volume down.
Yeah, and that's something we ask. Now, if we have someone, let's say, being less than cooperative, then what we do is we do a noise rating. And that's, like I told you, it's based on the ambient noise in the area. If that exceeds, if the band exceeds that, then we inform them. We try to tell them, look, you're at 110 decibels, and you bring it down some. And we try to give you that courtesy, you know, or that discretion to turn the music down some. All right? But if we constantly get calls and you exceed that decibel range, then we have to take some enforcement action because we are responsible to serve the community. All right? But just know, we are not here to hurt any musicians or to try to cause problems for musicians.
Could I ask you specifically about the street performers at the corner of Charters and Frenchman Street? Typically the brass band. I play down there like 3, 4, 5 nights a week, and there are many times when I get down there and that corner is impassable. Just with everybody standing around in the street, you know, I mean, it's literally like you cannot get through.
So you call and let's listen, they're blocking the sidewalk, and then we'll come out, we'll send units out. I believe Chad has security guys out there who work. You know, if you can flag down one of the uniform guys, just let them know, and then if it becomes a problem, we'll deal with it. But we have to deal with it as it happens.
Okay.
All right. Just make sure you contact us. Cool.
So I just want to add really quick. Also, part of it is also it's on the bands also to self-police, right? So as you see, like again, this performance guide, there is an ordinance that says you can't block, right, the passageway, right? So part of it is also getting the bands themselves to police their own crowds, right? And I'm on Frenchman a lot, just as it was happening, and I've seen them do it, but that doesn't mean they're constantly doing it because clearly they are.
If they have a crowd, they're gonna want to keep their crowd.
They're making money, right?
Yeah.
Right. And so I mean, there's a lot of different ways to approach it, but again,
correct.
You know, not gonna lie, it's tough, right?
That's a particularly sort of tricky issue.
And a lot of times what the bands will do to try to help that, they'll shut down for a few minutes. Say, all right, we'll be back in 20 minutes. And then that'll disperse the crowd. And then they'll come back and perform again. Right. And if it gets out of hand, they'll shut down. But it's really a more or less like in the brochure, it's somewhat like being in cooperation with the city, with other groups, and kind of policing yourself, so to speak.
So, if a business is calling and complaining, but the band is in compliance, because you've checked them, and you find that they're not too loud, but the business still complains,
well, we
you
explain
just tell
that.
the business,
We explain
and the band
that
needs
to
to keep
go.
Well, the band is okay if they're within you know, within the audience. So we're not going to stop a band because of business call. It has to be a violation of law. Remember, we don't deal with anything outside the parameters of law. All right. So if a business, because they don't like your music, says, look, your music is annoying. It's not against the law to have annoying music. All right, and just to give you an example of that, I don't know if you guys ever seen Darth Vader in the French Quarter. Y'all see that? Darth Vader plays the same music every day, but he stays within the normal range. So when the business call, oh, I'm tired of hearing the same song. Well, I'm sorry, sir. There's no law against playing the same song over and over. All right. So with that being said, understand that we only deal with law. We're not going to walk over to you and tell you shut down and you're going to jail. That's not going to happen. I'm telling you. All right. And I've been here for many years, and we've had this issue for many years. And some of the curfew laws have been rescinded based on it, because we want you guys in the court. We want you to perform.
We're a crime deterrent. Wherever we're at, we're a crime deterrent.
Right. Yes, sir.
All right. I just also wanted to quickly hit on, I think what you were about to say too, is like, that is also the legal answer for that one, but that's also like, you know, when you talk about social contracts, there's a whole lot involved with that spot and like what's happening there too, so it's not really like a simple answer as to...
Well, and that's why I asked, and maybe it's more for the city representatives here. Frenchman Street is getting much bigger in terms of the number of people that are going there and the number of street performers that are down there. And it is creating kind of a bottleneck problem on busy nights. You know, it's like I said, it's impacting